Finally, we're getting to the Northman, and I will try to keep this as not spoiler as possible, but it's a little hard because I did not like this picture almost at all. There were some things that were fairly consistent, such as cinematography, costumes, and other things that really try to invest you in this universe and make it seem as if it was really real. But then there were things like them talking English, which constantly reminded you, yeah, this is very much a piece of fiction. It's not a documentary. So this isn't this great insight into Viking culture or whatever. This is what it is. It's a kind of Star Warsy approach to Norse mythology and a look at Viking culture from an auteur lens, true, but not, I think, a great vision that it's being made out to be. So essentially, Amleth or whoever, Kingy guy, I'm going to call him, Kingy guy sees father die and mother taken, and that's not a spoiler. That it literally happens very, very early. That's even the premise that's shown even in the trailer sometimes. So basically, Kingy guy loses house and home and swears revenge, and we know in these kinds of movies he's going to get his revenge. So there's not much drama or tension in the plot. We know he's going to win. We know he's going to get his revenge, and we're all rooting for the Kingy guy. So what do we have left? I guess it's the way this is being visualized to us. And part of the performances were very striking and well done, especially Willem Dafoe. Although he's very much a cameo. So is Ethan Hawke. He's not in this very much. So it's a bit of misadvertising to say they're part of the film. They're really just cameos. But Willem, I thought, was really effective. Anna Joy, as always, excellent. I thought her scenes were really good. And of course, she's naked in a few scenes. That was really good too. The acting was pretty strong in some places, but in terms of the central protagonist and even Nicole Kidman and a few other people, very, very disappointing, very one note, very silly. And I don't think it was trying to be a parody, but I found it absolutely laughable. So I can't say I didn't enjoy myself entirely. I did find certain scenes so laughably ridiculous or stupid that it did amuse me, sort of, but not for its running time and not for its intention. One of the things I found really frustrating is even though we do see Kingy Guy at times being competent in battle, he takes the stupid pills at the most weird moments. For instance, there's one scene where he clearly sees, he's outnumbered, and instead of throwing a few spears or having some arrows ready, and we see this early on in the film, we see people using arrows and spears, he just decides to run in and fight them overwhelmed. And he puts up a good fight, but eventually is captured. And you're like, why? Why didn't you just use some spears to at least kill one or two people, face smaller numbers of enemies? And nope, just going to come in stupidly and fight bigger numbers. There's also some scenes where literally people run into him and magically his dagger just gets at their throat. And you think to yourself, wow, do people not have eyes? Do they only have one attack pattern? Why are they screaming all the time when they're trying to attack? Does nobody understand the use of stealth? Because early on, people get killed kind of secretly using subtle techniques, and you're like, yeah, so the consistency of the world building is all over the place. It's very, very erratic. And then out of nowhere, Star Wars intrudes because guess what? We've got Force users and people who can have visions. How? Why? Don't ask. And if you thought that was a big plot contrivance, they're going to double down because we not only have one person giving you visions, we've got another person giving you visions. Be complete sexist. I found Bjork suddenly showing up like, oh, really? That's really out there. She looks great, and it's a very haunting scene, but of course, logically as well as probabilistically, how is this happening? But I did find when the quote male witch comes in, I thought he was effective. I thought that was actually pretty good. So there I go. I have really strong sexist bias against Bjork showing up in films. I'm just being playful. I don't have problems with her. But I did find her scene kind of ridiculous. But the male witch, okay, I could kind of buy it. But then they do even further Star Wars stuff where he seems to be facing a demon knight or a zombie knight or something, and I'm like, and the fight wasn't even that good. It wasn't even a George Lucas fight where at least he maybe went overboard, but at least it was exciting. It was just pretty small and pretty boring. This thing only works in some places, and other places it just really drags, and I just never felt really the central story. I didn't really care. I didn't feel like I was going anywhere with this. It just felt like when it crescendos with the, of course, two naked men fighting each other in volcano land. I'm like, right. But I've seen Revenge of the Sith. I've seen two men just fighting in the background of a volcano. By the way, that was true there too. Yes, George Lucas he even used real volcano footage and it integrated into Revenge of the Sith. what's the point of this fight aside from just a lot of ridiculous poses by men taking off their shirts and showing off their muscles? I don't know. Alexander is very clearly dedicated to this Vu role, so Skarsgård does show his dedication. I'm sure he really put everything into this, but this is 2-0 for me because I didn't find him very entertaining as Tarzan or compelling, and I don't find him compelling as Kingy guy here either. So, but this will probably work for a certain audience, and I can't deny it's well made. I just don't think it's as well made as people think it is. I think that this is really overrated garbage. It's not really worth your time or energy. However, they did put a lot of work into this, and out of pure self-interest, I want to work for A24. I have pretensions of being an actor slash director. Yeah, I say support this. I gotta be honest, I just don't think it's very good. But it was well done in places, so I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. Would I recommend seeing it in theaters, in the few theaters that have it? Probably not, but I would say, yeah, maybe as a rented, it'll work. And I'd say he did make me curious enough to see his other films, like The Witches. But beyond that, yeah, I'm like, what is the hype about? I just don't see the point of this nonsense. But that's me.